Tribe, I'm Steph, and this is Beth, and we are going to break down a transitional movement today that we see often in yoga classes, and we want to make it easier for you to get from a down dog or a single leg down dog into a lunge movement without feeling rushed and without feeling like you can't step your foot towards your hand. So giving you some options and ideas. First thing we're going to talk about is starting from a tabletop. So if you're not doing down dog or you're just not feeling down dog that day, you can do all of this from a tabletop position. So she's going to start with a single leg lift. So when she sends her leg back, just making sure that the hip is pretty much facing down. It might slightly rotate it out, but for the most part, she's not lifting as high as she can and dumping into her low back. So lifting only as high as you need to through the glute. Now as she inhales, she's going to exhale and pull the knee towards her chest. Notice as she did that, she softened her elbows so that it wasn't just moving through the legs. So we want to bend and soften through both the knees and the elbows as we're doing this transition. And the reason why we do that is so that, one, we're not locking out our joints. So if you have even slightly hypermobile elbows, this can be a place where you lock. So we want to soften there. And then also it allows her to create more space so that when she pulls the knee up and in, she has more room to step the foot through if that's where she's going. So you can kind of see that, and everyone's going to be different. So this transition is tricky if you have shorter arms or maybe super long legs or just lacking the mobility to step your foot towards your hand. Totally normal. Now if she goes back to table, notice the difference if she doesn't bend her elbows. So if she just lifts her leg and pulls it towards her chest, she's got a little bit more stepping forward that she needs to do, and you can really see that when we take this from down dog. So you can always stay in that option from table, or if we're taking this from down dog, obviously set up your down dog like we talked about in earlier videos, but she's gonna soften first. So we're bending down to the knees and elbows, and then she's gonna lift one leg. Same thing here, she's not rotating the hip open or lifting super high, which we tend to see a lot. Just because you can lift that high does not mean that you should. So listen to your body and pay attention to the mobility in your hips. So again, softening the knees and elbows as she transitions, she's gonna pull that knee up and in. Notice how high she's lifting her hips, and then she can step the foot through towards her hands, and she even walks her hands back a little bit. You can use blocks in this low lunge position if you want to, where you'd be up a little bit higher. Now, if she doesn't bend her elbows, let's check out what that looks like. So she lifts the leg, she just pulls the knee in and steps forward. She's got a little bit more walking back through the hands that she has to do because you can't pull the knee as high. And again, this is a personal thing, depending on the length of your arms and legs, how this is gonna feel. But even when we're moving through core plank, so even if she's just doing that knee pull in and out a few times, softening, she's bending through the knees, through the elbows in between. She'll do one more. She'll really lift high, hug in, and then step the foot forward. Now let's say she couldn't step the foot all the way towards her hands. Let's say she gets stuck and she can only step it that far. What is she gonna do? She's gonna walk her hands back and just essentially shift the pose back. Who says that the pose has to be in the middle or top of the mat? You can be further back. She could use blocks here. Maybe she stays in a low lunge with the back knee down. So whatever she's moving into next, make sure that the hands are under the shoulders so that you're not pushing too far forward into the knees, and really just play with the placement of your front foot stepping through and your hands to figure out where you need to be. So feel free to have the option to shift this pose back if you need to, keep it in table if you need to, and just really use those options depending on how your body is feeling that day.